Colonel Wyatt hits the screen, got stories bold and keen. Old soldier, sharp and mean, tells truths they've never seen. Rugby lover with a roar, Africa flowing in his core. YouTube rants they can't ignore, his passion makes his heart soar. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Military mind, keen and wise, truths come out, no disguise. South African skies, in his eyes, hear his voice, no surprise. Retired soldier with the fight, in the dark he brings the light. Angry rants, truths ignite, join the cause, join the ride. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Enemies knocked on his door, trolls attack, but he's more with each click. Watch him soar on the truth waves, he explodes. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Right now, don't miss the brawl.
Take a picture.
Well, I can answer that for the president. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me.
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on the around the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me.
Influence, move with a practiced grin, shaking hands with the lights that dim. The White House walls heard his claim to fame, but the shadows whispered a different name. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Pretending blind to the cries at home, while the streets of SA ache and moan. Right, the man with the golden hue, but the deal fell flat and the lies broke through. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Behind wars, the mask came off. No suits, no ties, just shadows aloft. The past screams loud from the buried ground. Now the silence breaks with a deafening sound. Oh, where are my faults? Oh, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. What's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. The horrors rise from a nation torn. Whispers turn to cries of scorn. History's weight won't stay concealed. Every wound must one day heal. Oh, where am I full? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. What's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You pay.
And they're doing precisely what we said we as South Africans should not do. We should stop running to other countries. We should discuss our own problems here.
Good morning, good evening, folks. Welcome back. It's Night Owls with Chris. How y'all doing? What about you? But I'm pretty wiped out. I have not adjusted well coming back. Usually it's a snap. But my body's still 5 hours ahead. Circadian rhythms are not set properly. So instead of 11 p.m., for me, it's more like 4 a.m. So I'm having a hard time adjusting. And now I'm about to go 2 hours the other direction. So I'm going to start running out of gas at 9 o'clock in the evening on the other side. So we'll see how it goes. But welcome back to the program. I hope you guys are doing well here. For some reason, this is not as wide as it should be. There we go. Got my stuff set up now. Let me say hello to everybody in the chat here. Sloth Puppy's here. Mandy Van Rooyen. Phoenix Loretta. Let me see the sound coming out. Okay. Van Rooyen. Phoenix Loretta. Let me see the sound coming out. Okay, it's working. Cool. Esmeralda Pretorius. Charles Van Olsen, the voice of reason. Petrus van der Linde. Phoenix. Arnold Neveling. Inkwell Odyssey. Elmarie I'll start to say Swart, it's Mayor. Helen de Swart, Odin's Vikings, Richard Kuhn, Denise Bellingen, welcome to you. Andre K, Ulrich Fenter, Kathy Price, Cleo DePolo, Malcolm Cloutier. Hey, Malcolm, there's an OG. Holden Caulfield, Richard Kuhn, Mandy Van Rooyen. Is that Kasigi? Welcome to you. Keith, D. Barham, Multipass, Rebecca, and Arctic is here. Okay, cool. I don't see Hendo. He must be sleeping. It's 4 a.m. for him. Hey, folks, how's it going? What are you all up to? Yeah, but it's not jet lag. No. Okay, whatever. That's not what I see as jet lag. The jet lag for me is your inability to sleep, or no, it's just I don't know. This never happens to me. I'm just might also be that I didn't get any sleep last night. That's why I'm tired. Anyway, I'm not sure, but yeah, but 6 hours this way, 5 hours this way, then 2 hours that way, just a couple days apart is not great stuff. Let's stop with the age thing. Stop with that. Stop telling me age is creeping up. The age thing is, this isn't even age, although I'm sure it plays a role. This is torn retina twice. That's why. Just a matter of time before that happened. And the hip is not age. The hip is an injury. Yep. No, I'm not struggling to sleep, Charles. I'm tired. That's the problem. So apologies for the news for those who caught the news today. I don't think I ever explained, but I had a medical appointment that I had to schedule 6 weeks ago. You see, they only let you do one complaint at a time. So I went to see my doctor, and I had several things. And he says, well, they're pressuring me here. I can only do one thing. And today was a good example of how I can see why that happens. I sat in the clinic for over an hour before I was finally seen. I arrived on time, early, checked in with a little scanner and sat down. A couple minutes later, someone called me. I went in, they checked my blood pressure, and then I sat there for over an hour waiting. She came by once and said one of the nurses said the doctor's running a bit behind. I said, okay. Then after about 55 minutes, I had to go to the bathroom. And so I got up and I said, I need to go to the toilet because you can't just walk out. The door is secure. They have to let you back in. And a different nurse gave me this dirty look like, well, what do you mean you have to go to the bathroom? Why don't you just sit there and be quiet and wait? And I looked at her and I said, I've been waiting over an hour. I need to go to the restroom. I'll be right back. She didn't like that. Well, I don't really care. You know what? I'll just whip it out and piss all over your leg, lady. Pain in the ass, literally. Speaking of which, pain in the ass, Jimmy Kimmel will be back on television here. Don't know if you saw that. People are calling it a victory of free speech. No, it's not a victory of free speech. Jimmy Kimmel's a repulsive, vile cretin who doesn't deserve to be on television, doesn't deserve to be in public. He is the sort of person that you avoid in polite company. What he said was not free speech. What he said was he made false allegations and slanderous statements, and that's not free speech. Speech comes with consequences. Yeah, disruption of your circadian rhythms can be difficult. But guys, to be fair, I've been on this path for a while where I'm tired in the evenings because I'm getting so little sleep at night, and then I'm up doing this, going to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then getting up, and then being tired by 7 or 8 o'clock, taking a little nap. That's been going on since I started doing the Night Owls program. And tonight it hit me pretty hard, so. Charles says that was my exact response, yep. Yep, with Jimmy Kimmel. What a disgusting, vile, repulsive human being. Poor excuse for humans. Amarencia Quinn, welcome to you. I don't do sleeping pill. I don't need a sleeping pill. I just need sleep, that's all. Yeah. I don't know what she thought. But I know this. Thank you for the trophy, Helen. It's very kind of you. In the hearts. By the way, folks, I had some more Peter Rabbit stuff. I just didn't get it out tonight. So here's a coaster that I got when I was in Windermere. Yep. Yeah, it's true, Charles. I need to take a day off every now and then. I haven't taken one, have I? Even if I didn't do a show on this program, I've done other things, like I did the rugby broadcast. But I don't regret that. I would never have missed the Griquas winning the Curry Cup for the first time in 55 years. Wow. Arctic is talking about going to sleep. Yeah, that's not a problem. I had to wake myself up to come do this. That's the problem. Paul, what's going on? How you doing? Anyway, yeah, so, and I had a fridge magnet and a bookmark too, so anyway, but the fridge magnet's on the fridge and the bookmark is in the book, so. Yeah. You know, I saved a lot of money on this trip in one respect because the one to England, because there's only one book, one program. Unlike the men's, where you get a different program at every game and I have to pay £10 or 10 euros or whatever the equivalent is, this one had one book for the entire, and I bought that the first game I went to in Sunderland. One book. Although it looks like the back is a little damaged. That's a shame. Yep, so, and this one's full of adverts, so they must have made a ton of money off that magazine. They did have a nice theme for it, though. This energy never stops. It was pretty cool. Oof, man. Anyway, so how are we all doing out there, folks? What's the word? I've got a little bit of things. So, which day is Braai Day? Because Safari Outdoor kindly reminding me that Braai Day is here with a big sale. Braai Dag. 24 to 28 September. I know that Braai Dag is not 4 days long. Meanwhile, what's going on? Which day is Braai Day? Look at that. Für die Gries van Braai. 24th. Well, apparently Safari Outdoor. No, it's, yeah, Safari Outdoor is a little pricey, but I mean, with the rand and such, the toilet, it's not too bad for me. But it's a little pricey. This happens all the time. Something has to be done about this. Something has to be done about this, folks. These kids have to be taken and horsewhipped or punished or put into a juvenile. The Cape Town driver was nearly killed in a hell run attack on the R300. Cape Town driver narrowly escaped serious injury after a group of boys hurled stones and bottles at his car on the R300 Saturday morning. Nearly killed. Wow. Well, Arctic, I was buying things when the rand was $4.50 to the dollar. So 17 to 1, that's in the toilets for me. Yep. Sergio Borges was driving his buggy towards the N2 at 10 a.m. when his windscreen was shattered and the side of his vehicle was damaged. Yep. In July, 41-year-old Amanda Marenza was shot dead after her tire burst. She was waiting for help when unknown men approached her car and shot her. The investigating officer exhausted all avenues to bring the perpetrator to book without success. The cash reward is offered for successful arrest and conviction of the suspects. So she was murdered, and no one has solved the case. These people need to be dealt with. Fresh sexual misconduct allegations surfaced against Eastern Cape school teachers. A former secondary school pupil alleged the male teachers sexually harassed female pupils and punished those who refused advances at Eastern Cape. Well, I've talked about this endlessly, but I mostly focus on KZN, where HIV-positive pedos force prepubescent and pubescent girls into sexual favors for grades. This is what you get when you relieve competent, qualified Afrikaans-speaking instructors with pedos because their skin color, not qualifications. A ex-pupil named mentioned that 2 male teachers alleged to have sex with female pupils. Year after year, children get pregnant and then had abortions. They're impregnated by male teachers. The teachers school aware of the incidents. When I arrived at school in 2018 for grade 10, one of the teachers made advances to me. I told him I don't date teachers. I told him he was like my parent, mind you. There are boarding facilities where parents take their children to study and stay at school. The situation was so bad that some female pupils would appeal to other pupils to accept the advances of male teachers so they could be spared from punishment. Wow. It's a bunch of pedos. South Africa's schools are full of sick, twisted adult abusers. And it's an issue that's not paid attention to, as is the issue of incest and fathers molesting and raping their daughters in South Africa, something ignored wholly. It's long past the time when the corrupt government of the ANC starts taking and paying the consequences for putting these predators in our schools. No, it's not quid pro quo. It's called rape. Statutory rape is what it's called. Quid pro quo is actions that adults take. This is statutory rape. France, another cowardly, moronic, stupid, colonizing country, has foolishly made the cowardly leftist hate-wanking decision to recognize a non-existent terror state. France, Andorra, and if anybody cares, Belgium, Luxembourg, Malta, and Monaco joined diplomatic push as Israel unleashes fierce attacks on Gaza. Well, France recognizes the existence of the Palestinian state. I recognize the existence of the Languedoc state. And I call for the separatist movement of Languedoc to break away from the French Republic, as well as Normandy. Both of these regions should leave France, and I recognize their independence as a statehood. Yep. And I don't recognize the statehood of Andorra. It's a colony of Spain. How do they like it? How do they like it? Yep, the leaders of 6 idiotic European countries, including France, have moved to recognize the terror state of Palestine at a high-level summit ahead of the annual United Nations General Assembly. Leaders from the leftist hate-wanking republics of Australia, Canada, Portugal, and the failed invasion surrendered to the foreigners, United Kingdom, have all recognized this. Something that hasn't hit the news yet. Let me see if I can find something on this. But this story is not going anywhere. There it is. Finally got something. I was hidden. Milan, Italy. I go from Milan, all I get are football stories. So this is what you get from these radical fascist Islamists when you recognize Palestine or don't recognize it. They went on a rampage in Milan, attacking the stores. Look at this. Look at this. And the cowardly police just retreat instead of knocking heads and going after them. Look at this. Round every one of them up. Round them all up. Try them. Deport. Imprison, whatever's appropriate. Pro-Palestinian fascists. Protesters fight police in Milan. Italian ports are blocked. Protesters against Israel's offensive clashed with police in Milan and other Italian cities as tens of thousands marched in Rome, and dock workers blocked ports in solidarity with Palestinians. Police in riot gear tried to disperse them at Central Station in Milan. Yep, they hurled Molotov cocktails. 60 police officers were wounded. So here they're breaking Central train station. What the frick does that have to do with Palestine, with Gaza? Not a damn thing. See, these little pricks have free speech and they abuse it. It's time to stop this. Yes, you're right. Meloni has done nothing. I thought she was a right-wing fascist. Apparently she's not. She's a left-wing tolerator. Dozens of French towns are defying the fascist in Paris. More than 80 town halls in France hoisted the Palestinian flag today ahead of recognition of the Palestinian state by Emmanuel Macron in defiance of government warning not to do so. Macron is to recognize the Palestinian state on the sidelines. Yeah, well, here's the problem with that. This is what happens when you surrender your towns to these people. You have majority Arab and Muslim cities now in France that are not even French, slowly allow themselves to be invaded, outbred, and their country stolen from them. And the same things happen in the United Kingdom, where Leicester, Birmingham, Manchester, Sheffield, London, these are places where the English are a dying breed. We've never got an update on the situation at the South African Antarctic base. Never heard anything about that yet. What's wrong with these people, Phoenix? They were never disciplined as children, and they're not being disciplined now. When you don't have a deterrence against bad behavior, you get bad behavior, and this is a consequence of it. This tolerating this. Somebody's life has been disrupted. There's been needless property damage. People injured for no reason. Yeah, Italy's gone too. Yeah, Italy's been gone for a long time. Ever since I lived in Italy in the 1990s, and the back, beautiful. So I would get off of the highway. Instead of taking the Autostrada, going through Tyrol, sometimes I would, for the scenic ride, get off, ride the secondary roads along the edge of the mountain in the valley. And the first time I did that, it was because there was a traffic jam, and then I did it just to try, just to break it up because I went so many times up north. And I remember getting off the road and driving, and like, what the hell is this? Banana, yellow, short, mini micro skirts, the VJJ nearly exposed with no undergarments, and breast poking out of the top, dark as the midnight Nigerian prostitutes, all along the country roads of South Tyrol. 1997, already, the country was gone. Meanwhile, a little further south, the country was invaded by criminal Albanian gangs, one of whom the man was arrested for smuggling his wife in from Albania and then pimping her to as many as 40 men per day. Yeah. And he didn't go to jail. He was deported and caught in country again a few months later. Just barbaric, medieval times behavior. Argentina's markets are soaring after U.S. Treasury has pledged support. Argentine financial assets rallied Monday with stocks rising the most in 6 months. International dollar bonds up more than 6 cents. And the peso strengthening against Washington after Washington pledged full support for Argentina's government ahead of key midterm elections. Scott Bessent said all options on the table for stabilizing Argentina, including swap lines and direct currency purchases, while underscoring President Trump's confidence in President Milei and his economic team. Wow. Is it temporary or is it permanent? Who knows? You are right about that, Sigi. There's so much evil in this world. Yeah, it's the problem. It's not in the nature to assimilate, only to conquer. Well, the very word means submission. The very word means submission. Yep, exactly right. To me, it's synonymous with invasion. Well, the invasion's still taking place here in America. Trump may be in office, but people who have no business being here are flooding into neighborhoods that are being slapped up within reach of me, sucking up our water resources, sucking up our electricity, sucking up our internet bandwidth, and clogging our stores and clogging our roads and making life pretty shitty around here. Yep. Hence my desire to find land in Wyoming. Yeah. If my government's going to give my country away, then I'm going to move to a place where it's safe and I can move my crew-serve weapons onto mountain redoubts. Europe's next will be religious. Well, the Europeans are heathenous bastards. There's very few people of faith left in Europe. Yeah, we'll lose that war because they're not people of faith. Yep. Wyoming is always cold and windy as hell, even in the summertime. I had snow in September when I was there, early September. Joint statement from the trilateral meeting of the United States, Japan, and the Republic of Korea. The United States has reiterated its ironclad commitments to the defense of Japan and the Republic of Korea, backed by America's unmatched military strength, including its nuclear capabilities. The United States reaffirmed its extended deterrence commitments to Japan and the Republic of Korea, which are critically important to the security and stability of the Korean Peninsula and the broader Indo-Pacific region. Secretary and Foreign Ministers reaffirmed the resolve to bolster defense and deterrence by advancing robust security cooperation, including through the regular conduct of the trilateral multi-domain exercise Freedom Edge, and strengthening the respective defense capabilities. Well, there you go. The Trump administration has strongly announced its commitment to the security of the Korean Peninsula in the Indo-Pacific region. Yes, Holden Caulfield, the United Kingdom was that bad. It was that bad. It was worse. It was worse. Again, I sit in a Costa coffee shop for 2 hours, and probably 40 people pass through the shop, and 3 of them are English. I stop at a petrol station, a major one, where people are filling up at a discount place, and there's at least 30 cars there. I'm the only white person there, and I'm not even British, so there's not a single Brit there. Emails, sequel, they just come. I haven't seen them, Kathy. I don't recall them. Thank you for the reminder. Excuse me. Yeah, there are a lot of people called Kathy Price. I don't hear anything else.
He speaks of the world like an open book. Every corner he knows, every shadow, every nook, with a voice that carries, steady and true. Donkey Colonel Wyatt, we all look to you. Thank you, Donkey, a guiding flame, bringing us the news, calling every name. We trust your wisdom, your steady hand, across the seas, across the land. Net jou kennis en wysheid, jou rustige stem. Jy bring lig na die donker, jy lei ons weer in, soos 'n fliek wat speel, die wêreld ontvou. Dankie Colonel Wyatt, jy maak het goed. Thank you, Donkey, a guiding flame, bringing us the news, calling every name. We trust your wisdom, your steady hand, across the seas, across the land. Met jou kennis en wysheid, jou rustige stem, jy bring lig na die donker, jy lei ons weer in, soos 'n fliek wat speel, die wêreld ontvou. Dankie Colonel Wyatt, jy maak het goed. Thank you, Donkey, a guiding flame, bringing us the news, calling every name. We trust your wisdom, your steady hand, across the seas, across the land. Met jou kennis en wysheid, jou rustige stem, jy bring lig na die donker, jy lei ons weer in, soos 'n fliek wat speel, die wêreld ontvou. Dankie Colonel Wyatt, jy maak het goud. Cinemas glow, concertinas hum, pianos keys, a world unsung. In jou woorde, in jou daad, dankie vir jou hart, so vol van raad.
Hey, Gary. Yeah, Kathy, I know that's not the one. I just found messages from
Thank
you.
you, donkey, a guiding flame, bringing us the news, calling every name. We trust your wisdom, your steady hand, across the seas, across the land.
So, Kathy, I played that one because an urgent email. Well, the person does say urgent, but this is an urgent email. Listen, this is an age-old scam. It's happening apparently now to South African women, widows, and to others who are lonely or desperate. Folks, if people are contacting you and over social media, especially places like Facebook, and they tell you they love you, they want to care about you, be very careful here. There's a lot of scams out there where people try to take money from you. So someone sent me an email talking about some of these scams where people say they're in places like Germany, but people are these women are so desperate for affection or for companionship that they fall for this nonsense. She talked about a friend of hers who was cheated out of 3,000 rand. But when she looked into what happened to her friend, I mean, it was some pretty obvious warning signs. If you're an Afrikaner and you're getting packages from someone whose last name is Nkosi, the odds are that's probably not a normal relationship. Nothing wrong with that relationship. I'm just saying that's not the average everyday relationship for a middle-aged Afrikaans Tani. So you got to be careful out there, folks. Yeah, let me just read some of the notes here without giving away who was the victim or who was telling me this. So there's people contacting single ladies or ladies on Facebook in South Africa telling lonely people they love them, and then tell these lonely people that they're sending them a parcel with cash inside. Why would you believe that some stranger is going to send you cash? Her friend's husband passed away about a year ago. They went to lunch, and a courier guy from Express Couriers has a parcel, but she needs to pay him 3,000 rand for the parcel. Yep. So she took the phone from her friend and said, "Where's the tracking number?" And she said she lives next to police captain. And the guy said, "Don't worry, they have police contacts." Yeah. Anyway. Well, you can't protect people from themselves. You cannot protect people from themselves, folks. Here's a request for a song. People can't make up their minds, so that we reach an agreement. Did a poll. We have agreed to up the song "Go West" from the Pet Shop Boys. I don't understand what that means. Up the song. So, Go West. That's okay. That's in response to something earlier. Okay. Okay, so yeah. Oh, and I've got a Dutch journalist reaching out to me now. Sorry about that. Happy Slappy. I am tired. I'm very tired this evening. And there won't be a show tomorrow unless I do a very early one, but it won't be Night Owls. Will be a Night Owls. It'll be an Evening Owls here. Yep. True love in the pub is charged per shot. There you go. True, but sad that people are so desperate and that you trust no one. Well, it's not a question of trusting no one. It's a question of having good judgment. Things can be too good to be true, you know. Well, there you go. In fact, he says if it's too good to be true, then normally it isn't true. Exactly. People should not put out the fact that they're widowed or social media. They're lunatics out there smoking their socks. It doesn't matter whether you're married or you're a widow or a widower or whatever your status is. If you're on social media, people contact you. I mean, if you saw the number of solicitations and elicitations I get on Telegram, you'd be like, what the hell? I mean, if I pull up Telegram right now, I'll bet you there's at least a dozen. Well, that's not Telegram, that's WhatsApp. At least a dozen right near the top. Let me see. Let's just go real quick. People contact me. I don't even know who these people are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Ziva, Candace 6, Isabella 7, Isabella, another Isabella 8, Lucy 9, Elania 10. There's 10 right there. 11, 12, Melissa Cuties, yeah, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah. 23 obvious fake solicitations. Yeah. Here's some news, folks. I'm not desperate for attention, affection, or gratification. Okay? So thankfully, I'm not vulnerable to that. Yep. Happy Slappy got an email. Congratulations. Jeremy, what's going on? Stefan Tunison. Okay. Cat is going for an operation today. Oh, yeah, he's probably really, really hungry. He can't eat, though. Poor cat. Poor kitty. Expat, family Joubert. I'm a Capricorn. Well, I'm a Capricorn, too. Yep. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Colonel can pick up single person. Over 25. That's too late. Yeah, good luck to the cat. Hang in there. Cat's probably not. By the way, I've finally got it all taken care of now. So I got the new screen, and I got one of those privacy screen covers so that when you turn it, you supposedly can't read what's on the screen now. So got myself, my phone is back fully operational. Also, I ordered a new one of these cases because this thing here on the back, which protects the slide, protects my cameras. That bad boy keeps coming loose because it's so old. I've used it so many times. So I got another one coming tomorrow, the exact same one, to replace that so it stays closed. Yeah, so there you go. So we're back to protected phone now. Thank goodness. Anyway, new battery, new cover, new screen protector. Yeah, and my phone's looking pretty good. So, yeah. Anyway, so is Hendo here? Does somebody say about Hendo? Oh, no, that's the age range he's looking for. Okay. Copies unite. Yeah, okay, let's do a song. Oh, we still got some news here. We're not here about the news. Let's do a song, folks. What song do you want to do? People want me to do something about the West End. Is that the West End one they want me to do? Anyway, about, where's that? Go West. I know, what's Go West from Pet Shop Boys? I know West End. Go West. Go West is a band. Oh, here's Pet Shop Boys. Don't remember that one. I don't remember that one. I can't get out of this ad. I'm stuck in it. These Liberty Mutual ads, tons of them. They're everywhere. Yeah, it's not as simple as that. People want me to make a remake. You can't do that. If you remake a song, you're going to get hit. And the software is set up to intentionally avoid that. Boy, I got a lot of messages today. I just caught up on email yesterday, and I've got another 100 at least email messages about refugee stuff in that account alone. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Joey's got to run. All right, well, have a good day. I don't remember Go West. I know West End Girls. West End Girls. In East End Town, Dead End Boys and West End Girls. I ignore, block, and delete any strange requesting anything of me on social media. I was not born under a rock. Yeah, people get desperate, though, Ingrid. They really do. People get lonely. They really do. I mean, it's the truth. You know, and in the interest of full disclosure here, I get viewers who glom onto my channel who are desperate, or, well, I almost say they're desperate. If they're trying to get affection from me, I hope that doesn't make them desperate. That doesn't make me look very good. But people who fancy some sort of relationship with me, and I get that all the time, and they hang on to the channel for a bit, and then if they don't get what they're looking for, either companionship or sexual gratification or acknowledgement, then they leave, because the only reason they were here was for that. It's sad, but it's the truth. And anyway, so I lose some subscribers for that reason, because I don't get involved in that way with folks. So no, not do I need a passport. Let me read some of the stuff here without revealing people. Where's it at? There it is. Dual citizenship question. What else? Okay. The Eckerlini thing, that's not refugee. Interview with RSC. Army conscription. Another refugee question. Want me to intervene for someone? Someone, this is about a break-in. That's a new one. Okay. Dual citizenship, another one. Refugee program. Can no longer resist. Opinions. Yep. Anyway, lots of stuff here, folks. Anyway. They keep coming. It's another reason I'm tired. I spent 2-3 hours answering me on one day, another 4 hour and 45 minutes the next day. They come for the green card, but leave for the beard. Oh, my goodness. Oh, cats can hold a grudge, but, you know, the cat doesn't know. Doesn't know that it's for their benefit. Wow, we hit 100 people tonight on the Night Owls. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Appreciate it. Now we're not going to do one tomorrow. Shame. Maybe I'll do one in the early evening if I'm up for it. But today was another long day. So I was up late doing the program last night, then went to bed to get up early. I had to take my car in for inspection. Good news is it passed the inspection, but one of the the side lights bulbs had burned out, so that had to be replaced. But the bulbs are expensive. For one light bulb, $13.50. That's ridiculous. It should be $1 or something. Anyway, yeah. So car passed inspection. Meanwhile, I had to go to the clinic, and I sat there for over an hour waiting for my appointment to see my doctor about a couple issues. Update him on the hip thing. He put 2 new referrals in to find another orthopedic person and a sports medicine person to give me the injection instead of this nonsense of replacing my hip. And also gave me a prescription for the congestion that I'm having. So the world is so caught up in media gratification, so when it's an emergency on their side, it doesn't mean it's an emergency on my side. Yeah, no, it's a lot of what I get. I get a lot of people get pissed off because I give people in the chat, you know, me. Why aren't you talking to me? Why are you ignoring my messages? I'm not ignoring anything. Get a grip. Get a grip, and not of your member. Yeah, no. I get this all the time. It's urgent, and it's not urgent. It's urgent to that person, but it's not even remotely urgent to anybody else. The hip is okay today, Xavier. It's okay. And I didn't even look to see how many he gave me, but my primary care physician gave me a prescription for that anti-inflammatory that those people. Oh, he wasn't too happy. He looked at. I went over to get an injection, you know, to see a doctor, and they only let me see a physician's assistant. So he was looking at the notes because it's all electronic. He goes, they only let you see a PA. You should have seen an orthopedic surgeon. I said, Doc, I know. Now I'm going to get billed for a copay, and you know, anyway. So he's with me on that one. I got a mail from Americana stating that they will have an announcement on social media. Yeah, I've heard about that. I don't know anything about it. They've, again, are falling asleep, not telling me about what their plans are. So that's, look, I'm not criticizing the Amerikaners, but, it would be nice since I've treated them fairly objectively. It would be nice for them, since I'm the only person in the media who's actually addressing them in a fair and objective way, that they would have the courtesy to just reach out to me and say, hey, this is going to happen. But every time something comes along, I have to reach out to them. It's getting old, but they are busy, so I understand it. Hey, Candace. His previous owners, their neighbors, and your cat blows them off. They must have been rude to him. Anyway, well, that's good for the cat. Good for the cat. I know we'll do. We're going to do a song, and I just came up with a song. Okay, here we go. Let's make a song. See if this, I don't like the way it changes, so. Let's see what happens. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm making a song, and we'll see how this one goes. Who was this? Iceland Air suspends flights to Detroit. I wonder why that is. What happened there? I guess it's not working, but they're adding other flights to the U.S. Didn't even know that Iceland Air flew to Detroit. I don't even know why they would fly to Detroit. Varushka's out of here again. Wow, you're leaving early twice now. Zelda, what's going on? Because nobody's left in Detroit. Yeah, there's no one to take the plane. That's funny. That's funny. Suno's taking longer and longer here to generate things. I had to use a different browser to download stuff earlier to send to. By the way, I did send that music to my Charlie Kirk tribute song to Heinz Winkler, and we'll see if he what he does with it. Okay, Cyril's coming to town.
Suitcase of charm, says the nation's fine, no cause for alarm. Talks in riddles, spins a tale so smooth, but the streets tell stories that don't approve. He waves to the cameras, a grin on his face, while the truth hides deep in the darker place. No crime, no pain, no misery to see, but the shadows whisper, that's not reality. Oh, oh, Cyril's coming to town. Oh, oh, Cyril's coming to town. Fairy tales flying, spinning words all around. A tie and a practice frown, but the people know better when he's not around.
I'm loving it.
He blames the past like it's yesterday's ghost. Says he's cleaning up, but he's doing the most. Promises stack like bricks in a wall, but the cracks keep showing they're seen by all. Ooh, in Summit, the spotlight's his stage. Words like glitter, but they don't engage. The people back home, they're tired and worn, living in a cycle where hope's been torn. He says, I see no evil, I hear no cries, but the truth's a river that never tries. I see no evil, I hear no cries, but the truth's a river that never dries. Oh, Cyril's coming to town. Oh, Cyril's coming to town. Fairy tales flying, spinning words all around. He's got a suit, a tie, and a practice frown, but the people know better when he's not around. Ay.
Oh, that's a hit right out of the box. Here's version 2. If your passport expires after coming to the U.S., that's not a really helpful situation to ask me, Loretta. When? A day later? 6 months later? Normally your passport has to be at least 6 months beyond the date you arrive for a person on a normal. I don't know the answer for a refugee, whether you just have to have a valid one the day you arrive or not. If you have a valid passport, I don't know the answer on that one, and they never made it clear. So as far as your passport, if you're here and it expires 7 months after you arrive or a year after you arrive, you have to renew your passport through the South African authorities in Washington. That's how it works. You're still a South African citizen. Does that answer your question? Because you didn't give me enough information to answer it.
Cyril's on the move with a suitcase of charm. Says the nation's fine, no cause for alarm. Talks in riddles, spins a tale so smooth, but the streets tell stories that don't approve. He waves to the cameras, a grin on his face, while the truth hides deep in a darker place. No crime, no pain, no misery to see, but the shadows whisper that's not reality. Cyril's coming to town. The people know better when he's not around. He blames the past like it's yesterday's ghost. Says he's cleaning up, but he's doing the most. Promises stacked like bricks in the wall, but the cracks keep showing they're seen by all. Ooh, and Summit, the spotlight's his stage. Words like glitter, but they don't engage. The people back home, they're tired and worn, living in a cycle where hope's been torn. He says, he's not around. But the truth's a river that never dries.
Yeah, I like the first version of it. Now, Expat Family Joubert, the news is not over, but this is not a news program. It's Night Owls, and it's a free flow of things. I do have more news stories, but I was in the mood to... Why am I not connected to this person? Oh, I am. Okay, well. Yeah, so I do have more news stories. Anyway, I like the first one better too. Yeah. Yeah, Mandela only served one term. That's correct. He walked away. He set an excellent example for Africa and for the world. Rather than be a petty dictator, he walked away. And he walked out. Yeah, I like the first one too. Okay, Expert Family Joubert wants news. So, as I said, this is not a news program, and that should be known to people by now, but I have more news stories. So, U.S. Supreme Court will revisit laws that curtail Trump's power to fire top officials, and the Yeah, the news is depressing. That's why we don't just do the news on every broadcast. U.S. Supreme Court ruled President Trump can dismiss a top official in the Federal Trade Commission in a 6-3 ruling. Well, they ought to be able to say, if he can do that, they ought to also point out that he can dismiss members of the Federal Reserve Board. Yep. For alleged corruption, which is what he did. But then a lower federal court said he couldn't do it. It reinstated this woman who's clearly, based on the media reports, violated the law by falsely claiming that she had 3 primary residences in order to get preferential loan terms. And this is a person who oversees our Federal Reserve. Please. Okay, again, this is not a refugee program, but Mr. QB, I've answered that question many, many times. I'll answer it again so you don't have to sit here and wait. You do not have to have a passport to submit a statement of interest. You're not applying for anything. You're telling the U.S. government you're interested in being a refugee. If you don't have a passport, it asks you whether you have a passport. Why don't you just go to the statement of interest and read the damn thing? It's there. It's there. If you don't have a passport, you can put in your statement of interest. So don't wait for a passport, okay? Justice Elena Kagan, writing for the dissenting liberal hate wankers, warned that the ruling allows the president to take charge of institutions Congress had intended to protect from partisanship. Yeah, the problem is that Congress has been busy building a parallel government that's not responsive to the executive branch and has no checks and balances by the executive branch, not the least of which is the Consumer Financial Protection Agency, which does protect consumers. It collects massive amount of personally identifiable information and financial information of American citizens unconstitutionally and illegally, and Congress voted for it, and idiot President Obama signed it into law. And so this usurps the authority from the Constitution and from the President of the United States. Congress has long been doing end runs around the President by creating these agencies intended to undermine the legitimacy of the executive branch. To be fair, the executive branch does the exact same thing to the legislative branch, but the President has the authority to fire any of these officials and to appoint any of these officials, subject to confirmation in some cases. So the Supreme Court is right in ruling 6-3, yep, that Rebecca Slaughter can be fired. Yep. The CNN, the comical news network, claims that democracy is under assault and runs a whole list of things together and claims that the country is in trouble. But this is utter nonsense. Matt Egan says that the nation's top economic statistician was fired. Central bank independence is being undermined. The federal government is buying chunks of private companies and demanding cuts of revenue streams. Presidential power to lob tariffs has been wielded in unprecedented fashion. And federal regulators are threatening media companies over late-night comics. No. Jimmy Kimmel slandered. He also spread lies and misinformation, and there should be consequences to your speech. It's not free speech. It's not under assault. Media companies aren't being threatened. That's nonsense. The top economic statistician was fired for incompetence. Just because you're considered the top doesn't mean you can't be fired. The central bank independence being undermined? Well, the central bank is rogue. It's out of control, and its independence is not being undermined. How can you claim its independence being undermined when the person who appoints reserve governors is the President of the United States? It was never independent to begin with. See, this is just a hate-wanking, moronic, leftist retard promoting bullshit. The Federal Reserve has never been an independent body. If it were, then the governors of it would not be appointed by the President of the United States. It's like saying the U.S. Post Office is independent, yet we fund it, and the President picks the Postmaster General. It's like saying that Amtrak is a private corporation when it's a parastatal that survives off of handouts from the taxpayer. It's not independent. The Federal Reserve has never been independent. Never, ever been independent. It's utter nonsense. And the federal government buying chunks of private, they're not buying anything. They're demanding cuts in equity from these companies. They're not buying anything. And I'm sorry, when did the left have a problem with the U.S. government owning parts of companies? The left wanted the American government to control the economy, to have price controls, to set the price of petrol. All the way up through the 1970s, they crushed our economy with price controls. During the Second World War, price controls, resource controls, government-owned corporations, governments taking over corporations during wartime. This is what the left loves. So what is this guy talking about? Democracy is under threat. Democracy survived all that socialist bullshit. It's not under threat. See, this is what these hate wankers, and they get ink to publish this garbage to pollute the minds of people who can't think for themselves. These events all took place this year, not in a third world country, but in the world's preeminent democracy under President Trump. Some political scientists see a pattern that suggests American democracy is being undermined in real time. No, they're not. That's utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. CEOs are growing alarmed, even if they're publicly staying quiet to avoid the wrath of the White House. Business leaders are quite alarmed in private about the state of democracy, according to Jeffrey Sonnenfeld, Yale professor known as the CEO whisperer due to his extensive Rolodex in the business community. We have a serious erosion of the foundation of democracy. I'm sorry. And we didn't have a serious erosion of the foundations of democracy when a sheriff showed up at a church service in Alabama where people went to church at a drive-in movie theater, sitting in their automobiles with the windows up, wearing masks, 2 car spaces apart, and the pastor was broadcast over the screen, not even present at the facility. We didn't have a crisis of democracy when jackbooted sheriff thugs showed up and threatened to arrest all the people that didn't go home. We didn't have a crisis of democracy when people were charged with non-existent crimes or violating criminal violations of the Constitution by state authorities around this country. We didn't have a crisis of democracy when our freedom of speech was curtailed by the Biden regime colluding, cajoling, and coercing tech companies to censor us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Please, you silent little bitches were quiet when democracy was under threat, when insurrectionists burned Seattle and Portland and Milwaukee and Washington, D.C. and Atlanta and New York and Philadelphia. We didn't have a crisis democracy when Soros-backed district attorneys allow rapists and murderers to run the streets the day they've been arrested for committing the very crimes. We didn't have a crisis democracy when our country was invaded by 40 million criminal alien invaders. That wasn't a crisis democracy because Trump now is firing someone he has all the authority in the world to fire because of their incompetence. That's a crisis democracy. Shove it up your rectum, Egan, you dipshit. Unbelievable. A crisis democracy. I'm going to give you a crisis democracy. Democracy is just good for the economy. No, it's not. Democracy is not good for the economy. Representative republics are good for an economy. And autocracy is bad for the economy. What autocracy? There's no autocracy here. See, I love this. Trump gets overruled by the courts, and he adheres to the rule of law. Biden gets overruled by the courts, and he still violates the law, and there are no consequences. So listen to this nonsensical thing. Okay, here, listen. Study 51 populist presidents and prime ministers who were in power. Now, who's a populist and a populist president, prime minister is their determination, arbitrary. They don't have an index. It's not like people come with a stamp, oh, you're a populist. They've just determined that to fit their needs. Between 1900 and 2020, found that after 15 years, gross domestic product per capita was 10% lower when compared with a plausible, non-populist counterfactual. With a plausible, non-populist counterfactual. In other words, a non-existent person. So a fictitious person over here, you have 10% lower GDP than the conditional maybe will happen by somebody you play. Who's buying this bullshit? In a statement, White House spokesman Kush Desai argued the Trump administration is restoring confidence in economic dynamism, pointing to trillions of dollars in investment commitments from Apple, Nvidia, American, and other global corporations. These political scientists should have spoken up during Joe Biden's presidency when Biden officials erode American democracy by pressuring social media companies to censor Americans' free speech. There you go. There you go. What did I say? The White House is saying what I said. By flooding our country with tens of millions of illegal. Look, like they stole my talking points. And by weaponizing the justice system against political opponents on top of inflicting the worst inflation crisis Americans every day. Trump administration is correcting government overreach, incompetence, weaponization while implementing the most aggressive pro-growth economic agenda. And that's exactly what's happening. Exactly what's happening. Exactly what's happening. Exactly, Holden Caulfield. At this point, what difference does it make? Some people died. Remember that? Wait, you mean wipe to serve what? Like with a cloth? The latest flashpoint, Brendan Carr, the Trump-nominated chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, suggests the regulator would make life difficult for Disney and ABC if they didn't take action to address on-air remarks by comedian Jimmy Kimmel. Kimmel's show was later suspended indefinitely. Well, he's back tomorrow. That's what you would expect to see in an unfree country straight from the autocratic playbook. No, it's not. Jimmy Kimmel lied to the public, and there are consequences. The erosion of free speech to me is really alarming. Really? Really? The erosion of free speech in the media. You mean propaganda in the media. Your ability to not spread propaganda is under assault. That's what you mean to say. You leftist hate wankers don't get to just say whatever you want without consequences. Yeah, CNN. And ask the Covington kids how that goes. Or Kyle Rittenhouse. You lying sons of bees, lying in the press, claiming freedom of press. It's not freedom of the press, it's irresponsible press. It's yellow journalism. It's yellow journalism. You're a bunch of yellow journalists. There are a lot of people who believe every word of it because they're stupid. Look, I've dealt with CNN. I work with them in a documentary, and I'm not saying anything bad about the people I was involved with, but their twisted worldviews and how the world looks and their default position is shocking to say the least. Shocking to say the least. Yes, Alley Cat, are you late to the broadcast? We've already reported that Jimmy Kimmel's back on the air tomorrow, and I just said it again. State ownership of private business. Trump is also surprised to saw him taking a heavy-handed approach to private business. Yep. MAGA has gone Maoist. Mike Pence says state ownership of business is very common in China and Russia. It's also very common in France and the United Kingdom and Germany and Italy. They're hardly Russia and China. And in South Africa. Okay, maybe that's close to Russia and China. See, Mike Pence is a loser. He's a loser. And he's a dishonest fraud. And right there's the proof. It's as if MAGA has gone Maoist, if not Marxist. Wow. Wow. Stephen Colbert, as if anybody gives a flip what that scumbag has to say, declares late nightmare over after Jimmy Kimmel return. Stephen Colbert has optimistically announced late night nightmare is over with the return of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Celebrated the news of Kimmel's return in his monologue Monday night, despite President Trump's warning that other hosts and shows might be next. Stephen Colbert is a moron. These two scumbag, anti-Christian, anti-white, anti-American hate wankers are just that. So the American Criminal Liberties Union wants you to defend free speech. With immigrant rights, trans justice, reproductive freedom, and more at risk, we're in courts and communities across the country to protect everyone's rights and what need to. Let me translate that in English for you. Immigrant rights? No, they're not immigrants. They're criminal alien invaders. Immigrants have all the rights that they're entitled to, and they're not under threat. Immigrants, those are legal people, not criminals who've invaded our shores. So the American Criminal Liberties Union stands up for criminals. Trans justice. What the fuck is trans justice? There's no such thing as trans justice. Are transgender people special? They get their own sort of justice? No. They're American citizens. They have the same constitution and the same rights as anyone else. So there's no such thing as bullshit trans justice. Reproductive freedom. You mean the choice to murder an innocent human being. You stand for the murder of American citizens in the womb. You stand for the invasion of criminals into this country. You stand for a fraudulent, fake concept of giving more rights to people based on their sexual orientation. That is not justice. That is not rights. That is not liberty. That is bullshit, leftist, hate-wanking garbage. Donations to the ACLU are not tax deductible. Well, thank God. Thank God they're not tax deductible. You want to support these communists? You shouldn't get a tax deduction. Join the ACLU and over 400 artists to defend free speech. Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air after our government threatened a private company with retaliation for remarks. It's a dark moment for freedom of speech in our nation. I'm sorry, the American Criminal Liberties Union, where did you stand up for me when YouTube took my channel away over something I never did? Because some hate wanker didn't like me at YouTube. Where are you now not protecting my free speech while YouTube hides my content from my own subscribers? Intentionally preventing them knowing about my broadcasts and my videos. Where are you, American Criminal Liberties Union, when we were censored during the lockdown? Where were you, American Criminal Liberties Union, when religious freedoms were curtailed, when churches and synagogues were closed under threat of imprisonment in New York City and mosques were allowed to stay open? The Islamization of New York City. Where were you, American Criminal Liberties Union? Please tell me where you were. Where were you? You scumbag, hate-wanking, anti-American, oh, boy, if I had time and money and wealth, I would do whatever I could to destroy this corrupt organization that hates America. They don't stand for civil liberties. They stand for criminal liberties. The American Criminal Liberties Union. Got a notification. Notification from whom, Mr. QB? We must never accept government threats to our freedom of speech, efforts by leaders to pressure artists, journalists. I mean, pressure journalists? You mean like the Obama administration illegally using the FBI to spy on journalists who've committed no crime, who were considered a threat to Obama's propaganda and lies? Is that what you mean, threats to journalism? Where were you for that, American? You never say jack. You never said anything. And it's not supposition. It's not maybe it happened. It's been proven. We know it demonstrably that the criminals in the Obama regime used the FBI to spy, illegally wiretapping and intercepting communications of American journalists in America, on American soil, in violation of the Constitution, to destroy their reputation and get them fired. Is that what you're talking? No, you were silent when that happened, weren't you? You didn't say anything. Unbelievable. Regardless of our political affiliation or whether we engage in politics or not, we all love our country. No, you hate this country. We also share a belief that our voices should never be silenced by those in power. Really? Really? Where were you when Obama silenced us? Where were you when YouTube silenced us? When Facebook silenced us? When Twitter silenced us when it was run by Jack Dorsey? You were nowhere to be found because you loved silencing the voices you don't like, the voices of truth, the voices of reason, the voices that actually read the frickin' Constitution and interpret it for what it's meant to be. Those of us in uniform who supported defend the Constitution and gave our lives up and our chances of wealth and fortune to defend this country against scumbags like the American Criminal Liberties Union. Politicians and celebrities weighed in on Jimmy Kimmel. Some celebrated, others criticized. The announcement they're bringing back the show came just days after it said it was suspending. Gavin Newsom expressed gratitude to everyone but Brendan Carr. It's a win for free speech. Senator Chuck Schumer said that Mr. Kimmel's return was about fighting for First Amendment rights and against these abuses by Donald Trump and Brendan Carr. Oh, shut up. Shut up. You didn't say squat when Joe Biden and the FCC abused us. Willem Petzer has a group now. When did he found a group? Is that a nonprofit or a profitable organization? Yeah, Mike Pence also had an opportunity to exercise his right as Speaker of Congress to inspect the 2020 electoral ballots. Well, and when the Democrats objected to the 2000 election results, to the 2004 election results, to the 2016 election results, they weren't called anti-democratic. They were exercising their rights under the Constitution. When Republicans questioned the ballots in Pennsylvania and in Wisconsin, they were a threat to democracy. Josh Hawley was the gravest threat to democracy because he had questions about what happened in Missouri and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. Oh, it's just a YouTube group. Okay, thank you for that, Alley Cat. Yeah, these people are such disgusting, puke-inducing, vomit, hateful scumbags. That's what they are. It's only a threat to democracy when it doesn't go with what they want it to be. It was a threat under Biden, and they ignored it. It was a threat under Obama, and they ignored it. Well, Amazon is in a little bit of trouble here for hoodwinking people with Prime. Too tricky to cancel. Amazon faces U.S. trial over alleged Prime subscription deceptions. E-commerce giant accused of using tricks to enroll millions into membership and making it nearly impossible to cancel. They went to trial on Monday. The U.S. government lawsuit that accuses them of using tricks to enroll millions of customers in Prime and then making it nearly impossible to cancel. My bigger question is, I have an issue with the jacking up prices. It was $79 a year. Now it's $129 a year, and you were promised free 2-day delivery on everything. Today, I have Prime, and I want to buy the case for this, and it said I have to buy one more thing to get free shipping. What the hell is that? That's not Prime. That's bullshit. Yeah, what about the Russia hoax, the Russia collusion hoax? Yeah, what about that? Nothing. Megan Ackerman, hello to you. Are you part of the Ackerman retail group? The case centers on two main allegations. Amazon enrolled customers without clear consent through a confusing checkout process, and that it created a deliberate complex cancellation system internally nicknamed Iliad after Homan's epic about a long, arduous Trojan War. Yeah, no, Amazon should be taken to court over this. Absolutely. Absolutely. So there you go, expat families you bear. There's the news. Okay, and what was that? What just came up? Kevin Yates subscribed. Thank you for that. Wow, cool. You are a member of that retail family. Wow, cool beans. The Ackerman Group. Cool beans. Congratulations. Canal Plus has taken over MultiChoice. Wow. So the French now own that too. Well, the Obama years are not over. We're still dealing with it. We're still suffering from it. And welcome, Kevin Yates, for joining us. Yeah, land grabs have been going on for years in South Africa. They just deny it's a lie. But we keep catching them in their lies. Some people believe everything they see in the news. There should be consequences for when they're misleading. Yeah, there should be consequences for stupid people believing everything, too. You should, don't believe what I tell you. Research it for yourself. It's a good question, Holden. Bosnia is a topic I was considering covering again because it's been, 30 years since all this stuff went really, it's over 30 years now since it went bad, but Bosnia was in the news recently. There's a separatist movement, but that's never stopped. But people aren't talking about the Caucasus either. No one's talking about Tigray. No one's talking about Myanmar. In West Africa? I didn't even know that DSTV was in West Africa. Didn't even know that. I've had DSTV in Botswana, in Uganda, in Ethiopia, but I never had it in West Africa. Didn't even know it was available there. Bad things happen to the world looks away. That's true. That's a true statement, folks. That is a true statement. All right, so we made that song about Cyril coming to town. Anybody got any ideas for another song before we wrap up today's broadcast? Not that we're done now. But anybody got any ideas? I'm listening. Glassdoor. Ooh. JP Morgan. No, I don't want a job there. Thank you. Anybody got any ideas for another song? Charlie Sheen. Who cares about Charlie Sheen? Here's from my car being serviced today. I've gotten all fancy with emails. While I was at the clinic, I had a text message from where they're servicing my car, and I clicked on it. It took me to a website, and it showed me all the results of the inspection. I was like, pretty cool. So I called them and said, you're authorized to do this. You're authorized to do that. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, that was kind of caught my attention. That was neat. Nice to see that. Played the Bob song. My mind's a blank. The Minsk Agreement was never put in place, whereas the Dayton Accords have been in place for decades. The Dayton Accords no longer apply. I mean, 30 years later, you can't say that they're falling apart. The clinic visit went well, yeah, but the fact I had to wait for an hour caused me not to be able to do my news program on time. Yep. So that kind of sucks. Which Bob song? I got 3 Bob songs. You got the Bugger Off Bunny Returns, the Bugger Off Bunny. I got the third one, so, yep. Anyway, so tomorrow's my last day before I fly off. So the Wednesdays with the Colonel will not be on Wednesdays because I'll be in the air when we're supposed to be on air. And when I get to Boise, Idaho, it will be too late because I'll get there at 8:30 South Africa time. That's when I arrive. I won't have Wi-Fi. And I pick up my car and I've got to drive somewhere. So we won't be able to do it Wednesday. We will do early on Thursday. It will be at 5 p.m. South Africa time. Will be Wednesdays with the Colonel on Thursday. Okay. Who eats yellow snow cones? Gross. No clouds are gathering. What are you talking about? Yeah, winter is coming in the United States. We're getting close. We're approaching fall. Summer is almost over. And, so we'll be heading into fall here shortly. And that's already going to be the case in the Rocky Mountains. I'm sure I'll see snow when I'm out there. So I have to take a jacket, a coat. I have to take a pair of trousers, even though I prefer shorts. On the road again, just be safe. Look after yourself. Well, thank you, Sandra. I'll be fine. We got nice full-size SUV rental, and I've got all my lodging booked and paid for. Yep. So it should be fine. Oh, where were you? That's a good one, Xavier. That's a good one. Let's go with that. Okay, we're going to go with that one now. Where were you? All right, let's see what we got here. See if it'll work. Okay. Trump pushed that Prime Minister fellow from Montenegro mentioned World War III. Huh? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Fun on the roads when the snow turns to ice and earth. That's not fun, Alley Cat. I love driving the snow. Falling leaves. Yeah, well, leaves in New England usually has beautiful falls. They're okay here. Some of the trees are quite lovely, but New England's got a much better mix, so I usually get some photographs of that. What was weird to me is when I arrived in England in August, the leaves were already falling off trees, already turning yellow and falling off trees in August, middle of August. That doesn't make any sense. I lived in Germany, and the trees didn't start doing that in August, so I've never seen that before. Kind of weird. Anyway, maybe the songs are getting a little bit better, I think. It's taking a little bit longer to generate them, so we'll see. Anyway, so where were you? And that's the title of my next song. Can you elaborate on the bus stabbing Ukrainian girl? I don't think we get all the news here. He was let back on the street because the criminal justice system lets us down, primarily because he's black. That's why. Black criminals are released on the streets because lies about how they're illegitimately incarcerated. So, yeah, they're let back on the streets to commit more crimes. It's been going on for years. That's why I have no cash bail in New York City now, so they can let black criminals back on the streets. That's exactly what's going on here, while they tell lies. All right, let's see what we got here. So, where were you?
Where were you when the farmers cried?
When the rivers ran low and the wells ran dry.
You turned your back with a fleeting sigh.
Now you preach from a throne so high.
The flags were burning, the streets went cold, the stories untold, the hearts unsold. Where were you when the silence screamed, when the truth got buried in broken dreams? Now you claim to
got banned.
When voices tremble like shifting sand, you held your tongue with a heavy hand.
Now you shout but don't understand.
The winds were howling, the lights went dim.
The future grew faint on a fading wind.
Where were you when the silence screamed? When the truth got buried in broken dreams? Now you claim to stand for the free. But where were you when
It wasn't for me.
wasn't for me? Wasn't for me?
Version 2.
Where were you when the farmers cried? When the rivers ran low and the wells ran dry?
You turned your back with a fleeting sigh. Now you preach from a throne so high. The flags were burning, the streets went cold, the stories untold,
The hearts unsold. Where were you when the silence screamed?
I like this version.
When the truth got buried in broken dreams? Now you claim to stand for the free. But where were you when it wasn't for me?
I like this one better.
where were you? Where were you when the words got banned?
Oh, a third voice.
When voices tremble like shifting sand.
You held your tongue with a heavy hand. Now you shout but don't understand.
The winds were howling, the lights went dim.
The future grew faint on a fading wind. Where were you when the silence screamed? When the truth got buried in broken dreams?
Now you claim to stand for the free.
But where were you when it wasn't for me?
Where were you?
Yep, I like this. Good idea, Xavier. Where were you? Indeed, American Criminal Liberties Union, where were you?
Where were you when the silence screamed? When the truth got buried in broken dreams? Now you claim to stand for the free. But where were you when it wasn't for me? Where were you?
I love that one. Yeah, they're both very nice, but I like the second one. It's smoother.
Where were you?
Also, 3 voices in it too, which is kind of cool. That's pretty cool. I like that one. Give me another idea, folks. I love that one. So we've done Cyril's Coming to Town. We've done that one tonight. Give me another idea. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm going to stop getting mail here soon because all my videos and things keep uploading to my account. I got to stop that. Saudi National Day. Who cares? How can Obama be impeached? He's not in office. Impeachment is a means to remove someone from office. Writer, journalist, internships. I don't want an internship. Forget that. Okay. A PDF. Don't need that. Oh boy. Okay, so you guys got any more ideas for a song? See you later, Vilma. Baltimore Club. What is Baltimore Club? Never heard it. Okay, you guys aren't giving me any ideas, so let me try to come up with one of my own. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I guess that'll do it for tonight. I'm going to get some rest now. Now I'm awake. Why does Peter look so fuzzy back there? Peter Rabbit looks fuzzy up there next to the Big Bang Crew on the shelf there. Cannot snub the voice, it just grows louder. Yeah. We haven't any fun songs. The grass is greener. Oh, there you go. That's something. Let's do an American anthem. There we go. Didn't know about that, expat family. All right, so I'm going to do one more here. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see what happens now. Expat family Joubert took his message away. Impeachment has no impact on presidential immunity. There's no impact. I like that Where Were You song. That came out really well. Getting my first message from News 24. Because it's already morning. Talking about cricket. Northwest Education bans sports and cultural activities at schools in term 4. Why? South Africa's obstructive approach to World Trade Organization, embarrassing, plain wrong. Wow. Okay, let's see what we got now. The grass is greener.
A lighthouse spinning in the darkest night. The stars align, they're burning bright. Echoes of dreams, they reach the shore. Feet in the sand, they wanted more. The wheel turns here, the fire starts. Blueprints rising from beating hearts. The grass is greener, don't you see? Where the brave run wild and the minds run free. The grass is greener, can't deny. Underneath this boundless sky, underneath this boundless sky. Hands that build, minds that dare. Ideas electric in the open air. A spark, a leap, a vision clear. What we make echoes year to year. The roots run deep, the soil is strong. A melody where we belong. The grass is greener, don't you see? Where the brave run wild and the minds run free. The grass is greener, can't deny. Underneath this boundless sky, underneath this boundless
Hey, Anne-Marie, what's going on?
grass is greener, don't you see? Where the brave run wild and the minds run free. The grass is greener, can't deny. Underneath this boundless sky, underneath this boundless sky, underneath this boundless sky.
Grass is greener. Didn't say America once. I mentioned America in my lyrics. Suno is actively stripping out things that identify people and places in the songs. That's kind of annoying. That's what they've changed their model. All these companies keep changing and stripping things out.
A lighthouse spinning in the darkest night. The stars align, they're burning bright. Echoes of dreams, they reach the shore. Feet in the sand, they wanted more. The wheel turns here, the fire starts. Blueprints rising from beating hearts. The grass
QB, I'm sorry you've been ill. I didn't know that. Glad you're better.
Ideas electric in the open air. A spark, a leap, a vision clear. What do we make? Echoes year to year. The roots run deep, the soil.
Well, that one's not bad. Yeah, no, I answered it. I like the second one too. First was good, but the second was pretty good. Yeah, no, Mr. QB, I've talked about that because a lot of people were asking about it. I don't know about the citizenship thing. I don't think that's necessary. I'm not really sure, but I don't think it's necessary in some cases. You can join our military and not be a citizen, but there's limitations on what you can do. And so, yeah, I don't know the answer on that. But I do know that, you know, people can join police forces later in life. So, for instance, General Bolduc in New Hampshire became a reserve police officer in his 60s. Yep, had never served in the police. Special Forces officer. He's now a reserve police officer up there. So, yeah, you have to check which department, what sheriff's department, the county you want to go to, what local police department, what their requirements are. They're all different. But generally speaking, if you're going to become a cop, you've got to do it before the age of 30, 35, usually. It's not hard and fast. Okay, so I've switched to country. I said male and female. This is only giving me female vocals. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Grass is greener, country.
They come to our shores with a suitcase dream, chasing the glow of that golden beam from far off lands where shadows lie. Here they find
You're welcome, Mr. QB.
Every step, every mile, they're reaching for the American style. The grass is greener in America, where freedom sings, where hearts run wild. The grass is greener in America, a shining city, a dream compiled, the place the world keeps reaching for. Factories hum with a steady grace, ideas born in this boundless space. A light bulb flash, a towering steel in every corner. The promise feels real. From the ground to the stars, we're built on dreams, we're raising bars. The grass is greener in America, where freedom sings, where hearts run wild. The grass is greener in America, a shining city, a dream compiled, the place the world keeps reaching for.
I like this part. By the way, I've stripped the vocals out of the Charlie Kirk song, and they're just powerful in a cappella. It's amazing. I'll play that for you in a minute.
The grass is greener in America, where freedom sings, where hearts run wild. The grass is greener in America, a shining city, a dream compiled, the place the world keeps reaching for. The grass is greener.
I love this one.
In America, where freedom sings, where hearts run wild. The grass is greener in America, a shining city, a dream compiled, the place the world keeps reaching for.
All right, version 2, and then I'll play the acapella from Charlie Kirk. Here's version 2. That was awesome. There's a nice beat to it. There's some serious country sound here. Gonna get the fiddle out. Devil went down to Georgia.
They come to our shores with a suitcase dream, chasing the glow of that golden beam from far off lands where shadows lie. Here they find a brighter sky. Every step, every mile, they're reaching for the American style. The grass is greener in America, where freedom sings, where hearts run wild. The grass is greener in America, a shining city, a dream compiled, a place the world keeps reaching.
Yeah, I like the first one better. Yeah, the first one's better. Okay, so here's the Charlie Stands On vocals, exclusively vocals. This is pretty cool. It's a WAV file, so it sounds really good. So good quality. Listen to this, how powerful. Now, it's at the beginning for 5 or 6 seconds. There's nothing because in the song, music's playing there. So this is just them singing at the same cadence and pace. It just takes the vocals out. It's pretty cool. Here you go. This is Charlie Stands On, just the vocals. Listen how powerful this is. Give it a second. Here it comes.
A voice like thunder broke the sky. He spoke for truth. He dared to try.
With courage burning bright as flame, Charlie Kirk was more than just a name.
They thought they'd silence what he gave, but free speech doesn't find a grave. Charlie stands on in the hearts of the brave, in the fight for freedom, the road he paved. Though the coward struck, his life won't fade. Charlie stands on in the love he made. Faith in his eyes, a fire inside, for family, for values, he never lied.
The world grows quiet, but echoes stay. In every soul, he led the way.
Gone from sight but never far, he's the whisper in the stars. A warrior fallen yet standing tall, in every voice that answers the call. Charlie stands on in the hearts of the brave, in the fight for freedom, the road he paved. Though the coward struck, his light won't fade. Charlie stands on in the love he made. Charlie stands on.
Wow.
Charlie stands on. Charlie stands on. Charlie stands on in the love he made.
Told you that was powerful without the music, but that just calls for the music now. Yeah, that just calls for the music now. with the accompanying
Voice
vocals.
like thunder broke the sky. He spoke for truth. He dared to try.
With courage burning bright as flame, Charlie Kirk was more than just a name.
They thought they'd silence what he gave, but free speech doesn't find a grave. Charlie stands on in the hearts of the brave, in the fight for freedom, the road he paved. Though the cowards struck, his light won't fade. Charlie stands on in the love he made. Faith in his eyes, a fire inside, for family, for values, he never lied.
The world grows quiet, but echoes stay. In every soul, he led the way.
Gone from sight but never far, he's the whisper in the stars, a warrior fallen yet standing tall, in every voice that answers the call. Charlie stands on in the hearts of the brave, in the fight for freedom, the road he paved. Though the cowards struck, his light won't fade. Charlie stands on in the love he made. Charlie stands on. Charlie stands on. Charlie stands on. Charlie stands on in the love he made.
Yeah, it's powerful. So that would have been amazing if that could have been his memorial service. Wow, but yeah. The Amerikaners are now under contract. They're not as free to speak as openly as they once were, folks. Have to understand that. So when you're under contract, certain things you're allowed to share and not share. So it's not surprising the Amerikaners are a lot less vocal than they were previously. All right? Does that make sense? History will record those who stood on the side of light and those who supported the dark. Well, I hope you're right. I've definitely stood on the side of the angels and the side of light in the face of oppressive tyranny and hateful shrews out there. Definitely stood on the side of right, moral, and just for everyone. And yeah, it's just amazing how much evil there is in this world. It truly is. It's sad, but it's true, folks. And it's out there. It's everywhere. History will be kind, I think, to many of us who've stood for right, moral, and just. What's that about Amerikaners? Well, I just said it, Helen. Were you not listening? Rikus de Vries, I hope you had a good day. Well, it was a long day. It's now after midnight here, but I'm going to sleep in this morning. Judgment will come, every knee shall bow. Oh, you just joined, Helen. Someone asked a question about why the Amerikaners are so quiet, and one of the viewers pointed out that they think they signed an NDA. I point out that they're under contract now. When you're under contract, you don't have the freedom. This is one reason why I haven't taken a job with the U.S. government. It's one reason why I haven't accepted many of the job offers that have been thrown my way, because if I do that, then I have to be very circumspect about what I say. What voice has gone silent? Who do you not hear from now that you used to hear from every day? Well, not every day, but all the time. What voice that spoke for conservative values in South Africa is silent? And I'm not talking about Ramon Cabinet, because he's not silent. Who am I talking about? Who do we no longer hear from who has a voice? Anybody know? Anybody know? Holden Caulfield, right and just. Is that why over 600,000 children go missing in the United States each year? What the fuck are you talking about, Holden? Are you trying to blame me for 600,000 children going missing? What kind of garbage and nonsense are you spewing there? Spare me. There's always somebody being a dickhead. Anyway, what voice has gone silent in South Africa? Anybody? Anybody know? Big Daddy Liberty. Big Daddy Liberty isn't making content. He's gone silent. Why has he gone silent? Because he works for the Democratic Alliance. He works for the Democratic Alliance. He can't speak freely. He can't do social media. Big Daddy Liberty's gone quiet because he can't speak. See, that's the problem when you accept employment. But everybody's got to feed their family. Everybody's got to pay their mortgage or pay their rent. Everybody's got to pay for petrol. Everybody's got to, Well, I'm not telling you to listen to or not listen to Big Daddy Liberty. I'm just telling you he was a voice for conservatives, and he's gone. He's not gone. He's still around, but he doesn't say anything anymore. Why? Because he can't. Oh, Holden, I misunderstood your comment. My apologies. My apologies, Holden. I didn't understand what that came out of the blue. So I apologize. I hope you're not offended, because I was offended by the comment. Yeah, Big Daddy Liberty's very quiet. Big Daddy Liberty had a strong voice. Holden, you still there, or are you angry at me now? Mr. QB says, thank you for what you're doing for us in South Africa. Well, it's not just you, it's the world. So is Holden gone now? Well, I'm glad you guys listen to me. I appreciate it. I'm very grateful. But Big Daddy Liberty had a big audience. He used to get 500 plus people in every live stream when I was struggling to get 100. No, Holden. Okay, thank you. You're still there. I just don't think history books reflect only of this time. Well, no. Why would they only reflect? Again, you're inferring something I didn't imply. I'm not saying that. I'm saying history will look kindly, I think. Well, if chat hasn't stopped, Kathy, you refresh your page. YouTube does that a lot. I have that problem in my studio. The chat just freezes up. The whole thing locks up. So, yeah. Again, it's like, look, I'm not a fan of George Bush Jr., George Walker Bush, but objective historians, I know. I was there. I was in the halls of power. I had access to information that most of you don't know anything about and will never know anything about. History will be kind to George Bush for how he went after Saddam Hussein's government and how he prosecuted the war on terror. There's so many things you all just don't know. You just don't know. You just don't know. And you can't know. And you wouldn't know. And that's the problem. And I'm not near those halls now. And that's why I know to make allowances for things that I don't have information for, information gaps that are probably out there. So, starting to think history will look at this as a turning point in America. I think that this is a turning point. It was a turning point with the re-election of Trump and with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It can be a serious turning point. While the left lies about Trump and talks about autocrats and talks about all the things that they actually are guilty of under Obama and Biden, the country is turning back in the direction it needs to go. Sorry to see you go there, Xavier. All right. Yeah, chat has really slowed down. We had a chat rate of 9 earlier. We're down to 3 now. It's odd because it's getting later in the day. You think more people will be here. No, South Africa's history is completely lied about. Who was president in 96? Bill Clinton. Well, keeping your head in the sand, you just miss life. It passes you by. You should never keep your head in the sand. Anyway, folks, it is now 2 hours since we've been doing this. Only 184 likes. That's a little disappointing. Anyway, time for me to go. The Thing of Nouns says cheers. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the music tonight. Well, the world look like if they do all, Colonel? Well, you know, I'm reading Bill O'Reilly's latest book. He co-authored with a new person, not with Martin Dugard, talking about evil. And reading about some faces of evil like Genghis Khan and Henry VIII and others. If people only knew the truth, a lot of them would bury their heads in the sands. The truth isn't pretty. The world is full of evil people. Thankfully, it's a small percentage, but there's a lot of evil people out there. Truly, truly evil people that have no remorse, no compunction about raping, pillaging, murdering, slaughtering. They don't. And they have no concern about anyone else. And it's a dangerous place. Humans are nasty creatures. All right, see you guys later today, okay? All right, the news is coming, but no late night on Tuesday because I got to fly at 6 a.m. Yeah, Janet Reno, the face of evil. Holden, I don't disagree with you on that one, brother. And Mr. QB, have a good night. I hope I answered everybody's questions as best I could tonight. And thanks for tuning in. I was exhausted when I started, got awake again for a bit, and now I'm getting tired again because it's late. So you guys take care. I'll see you for the news later today, okay? And I'm going to pack later today, too. Cheers. God bless. Be sure to hit that like button. Get me to 200 at least. Cheers.